gonna do an update video on my sunflowers and my pumpkins and garden, but run, chicken! Duck's like, I don't care. I was bringing some hay to the goats. It's been so dry that the field hasn't been growing back up faster than they can eat it down, so I had to get some hay and start feeding them hay. But here the past couple days it started raining and raining and raining and raining. So I got caught in the barn. Look at that rain, boy. So what can I make a video about while it's pouring the rain and I'm stuck in the barn? Well, I was thinking about doing a good and bad and ugly video. So maybe I could talk about that. So, one of the ugly things, I'm going to consider ugly to be more of an annoyance. Bad being bad, ugly being maybe gross and annoying. So the good things, obviously, are little babies. The good things about homesteading: knowing where your food comes from, knowing that in the case of protein, that food lived a happy life. They weren't stuck in a cage, covered in their own urine or feces, never seeing the sun, never feeling the grass. Some more good things about homesteading. What? Man! You screaming at me? Growing your own food. That's very satisfying and therapeutic. The joy of having rows and rows of food that you grew yourself, canned yourself. No pesticides or herbicides. You don't have to worry about some hepatitis or something. Seems like every time you listen to the news, something else is recalled because of listeria or hepatitis or E. coli. I mean, obviously that can happen in your own garden, but it's going to be a lot more rare. Some more good. It's the joy of having your animals. I'm sure for a lot of people, but you know, for me especially, they're a reason to get out of bed. You know, there are times when they are my reason to get out of bed and keep going with life. What's some of the ugly things? Getting wet. I don't like being wet. I don't mind being dirty or smelly and sweaty. I don't love being sweaty, but I don't mind it as much as I mind being wet. More of the ugly mud. When you have animals, you're going to have mud. And the more animals you have, the more mud you're going to have. And a lot of what that mud is poop. So much poop. Homesteading, when you have animals, life is poop. Everything is poop. Everything you touch has poop on it. When it's wet, it's mud poop. When it's dry, it's dust poop. I'm sure I've got poop all over me. You're gonna bathe in it. You're gonna lay in it, sit in it, you're probably gonna eat it. Life is cool. I guess one of the good parts of the poop is that you can grow things in it. It's ugly that we have to scoop out the poop, but it's good that we put the poop in the garden and we grow our tasty foods in the poop. So even the ugly things can turn into good things. What else? Little boy. Oh, that's another one of the uglies. Not little Thor. He was very cute, but when we had to weather Thor, that's an ugly. Because I really don't like doing it. I do not like altering animals. I think, I believe that animals have their parts because they're supposed to have their parts. All their parts. I don't dock tails or cut ears and I don't just flood my goats. I know the reasons why a lot of people do, and if they feel like they need to do that in order to be safe, then, okay, I'm not gonna argue with you. It's just I personally prefer not to. And I really hate having to weather animals. I don't like it. I wish I didn't have to do it, but the reality is you can't have a whole bunch of goats running around everywhere. I mean, you only need one good sire for a herd of goats. Unless you have like a couple hundred goats, then maybe a few more. But you're going to want the best genetics in that sire for your herd of goats. So not every goat is fit to be bred, so what are you going to do with them? Goats get very smelly when they're in rut, and not always, but sometimes they can be aggressive. They're going to want to maybe headbutt you, they're going to want to bowl you over, and sometimes they want to get frisbee with you. And when you have a goat that's about 200 pounds, that's dangerous. Especially if, you have kids around. Yes. He's 75% Nubian, but he's also got a little bit of maybe Alpine and maybe Boer. Yeah, he's got, because his mom Clover, she's a fourth Boer. Her dad was half Boer. So that's, it's not maybe the best genetics for a herd of goats. So weather him or eat him, or weather him and eat him. I can't bring myself to eat my goats. Goat meat is good. Like it's similar to venison, and I love venison, and I hunt venison, but it's different when I'm hunting an animal that is free and not an animal that I have raised and gotten to know personally. That's a little harder for me. So the little wethers, they can be sold as pets, or they could be sold to someone else for raising to slaughter. Or in this guy's case, I'm going to try to teach him how to be a pack goat, because that was my plan in the beginning with wethers, is to try to teach them how to be a pack goat. But with everything else, it's so hard to come up with the time to do anything. I guess that's another one of the uglies. Well, that's one of the bads, I think, is, like, I have to have a full-time job. I'm doing this, all this, trying to work myself up to the point where eventually I might be able to have this farm pay for itself, you know, pay the mortgage, so I don't have to have a day job. Another one of the bads, and it's a bad for everybody. We all hate this bad. It's when an animal dies. You know, sometimes we could do all the right things. All the right things, and it doesn't make a difference. Sometimes, you know that day when you walk outside in the morning to do farm chores and you discover something you didn't want to discover. Like, maybe you have some birds out there and there's feathers everywhere and it's apparent that, you know, a raccoon or something has gotten out here. Despite, you know, the fence, despite the guard dogs, you know, it's still going to happen. And something's gotten in and it's killed your animals. I mean, it sucks because of the time and effort and money you've put into them, but it also sucks emotionally because you love these animals. You take care of them. A lot of them we've raised since, you know, they were born. So that hurts. Even if it's an animal that was destined for the crock pot, you know, like your extra rooster or something, you don't want to see them go like that. No, if you had plans for the crock pot, then your plan was a gentle, you know, a gentle leaving of the world for them because you respect them and you care about them. You keep climbing me. I'm going to be so covered in poop. So covered in poop. I'm just sitting here petting Lotus's face while I'm talking and she's loving it so much. Hey, my girl. This is my family, you guys. You know? I love them. They are my reason. I give them a happy life, they give me a happy life. No, that doesn't even begin to cover any of it. That's just a couple of things for the good and the bad and the ugly. Did it stop raining? Did it stop raining? Well, sun's starting to come back out. I guess I need to finish my chores. Yeah. I still gotta get a little bit of hay and some grain out. So, good talk. Good brain talk. Bye, guys. Give me that. Give me it. Give me my shirt. What are you doing? Oh, you silly boy. He's a silly boy. Yes, he is. Shirt. Sweet boy. Sweet boy. Quit eating my clothes. Give me that. Okay, guys. I gotta get up and do stuff.